I guess we'll get started. Roger talked to Mr. Owens or text Mr. Owens, and he's going to be late, and we're not sure about Jacob, so we can pick up where we left off last time. Jamie?
Okay. The first thing I'd like to go over is there was a request or a question on a 1,500 truck versus a 2,500 capacity vehicle for the fire department. And after speaking to Mr. Kimbrell, the 2,500 it costs less, and it does have a higher tow capacity as well. But when he did the cost over the statewide contract, it is actually cheaper for us to take the higher vehicle. So
Crazy.
just to kind of give that to the board.
It happens that way sometimes, doesn't it? It is odd.
Yeah, if everybody put your microphone on, I think Lucas is recording. Make sure he gets everybody.
So I just wanted to make sure that I relayed that information. Second piece of last meeting's request was to see how all of the changes that we had made from the prior meeting ended up after we had made the appropriations changes. Currently, right now, how I have the budget rolled up, we are at a negative $26,042. So that is over one cent and not exactly 2 cents. So right now, a revenue per penny revenue is estimated at 21,490. So we're a little bit over 1 penny to get that to break even. So that just gives you a follow-up of those two questions.
So what was that figure again, please? 26,000.
26,042.
Okay.
And that would put us at a zero balance. Then after that, I will go into tonight's information unless anyone else has any questions that I've missed from last meeting.
Did you get the percentage of what the salaries were out of the figures that you have compiled so far? What percentage of that is salary? Do we have that?
Do not have that. Sorry.
You don't have what it was last year? The percentage of the
No, I don't
budget?
think so. I don't think I've seen anything that's broken it down, just percentage versus operating.
I'd like to see that comparison from
Sure.
last year to this
Okay.
year. How much of this last budget and this budget is in salary?
Okay.
Please and thank you.
Okay. Each of you have a sheet in front of you. Tonight, basically, I was going to show you some options of the payroll. We were talking a lot of regards to the fire department with the last meeting. I've worked with the chief a pretty good bit over since our last meeting, so I will be showing you some information from that one as well. But the one that you have, it is a roll-up of the whole city. And I apologize, let me get my sheet back here. Okay. So I'll kind of walk you through this sheet.
Is that the breakdown that Dorothy's wanting up there at the top?
That 45%
Right
personnel? there?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I'll kind of walk you through how it works.
Okay.
And then as we go through, if I have it compiled the way that we can make any changes and tweaks, and it will automatically adjust the numbers as at your request.
But this is not this year and last year's numbers.
No. This would be.
year, I mean, just this year's is what this is, isn't it?
Yes. Well, this is just based off of the salary increases that we were looking at.
Okay.
This is not what's currently already loaded.
Yeah.
No. This will just be increased.
Understand.
Currently, we just have it loaded at a 0 flat compared to last year, basically. So what we've done is gone through and looked at any increases that were needed by position, and then what that total roll-up would need to be. And then this shows per percentage. So column B would be a new tax rate. Column D, this is the per percent. So the bottom one is 30 cents. They're increments of 5 cents all the way up. Each 5 cents is worth $107,450. So as you go up, it goes up by this amount as the chart grows. And then when you get to this column, I have it broken out in personnel, operating, and capital. And then I have it currently, this is just where I have it right now, 45% going to personnel, 25 to operating, and 30 to capital. And then we can change this number. As we change this number, it changes the percents. So if I change this number to, say, 55, it will change that 45% of that 55 is 25 cents. So then, it will change the per penny percent. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me on that? And then if I change this, this will change. So if we wanted to say, okay, of this portion, we wanted 50% to go to personnel, and then we wanted it 25-25.
Okay, I'm kind of sitting at an angle here to where
Sure.
everything is slanted. That way, if you could roll just a tad, that's great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Is it okay over
Does
there?
that work for
I'm
everyone?
good, yeah. it's
Okay.
fine.
That's good up here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was looking at a slant, thank you.
So as I change the numbers that are here in yellow, that changes the calculations at the bottom based off the per penny amount to the left. So as we can discuss and it's requested by the board or anything, I can adjust these numbers and give different options or calculations in the board's request. Also, I have to even add further discussions. We have applied for the SAFER grant. So this is the column that reflects the SAFER grant. This is the personnel portion here, minus the SAFER grant would give us this amount to allocate per personnel. This is the COPS grant, which is due to apply for by the 11th. We have done the intent to apply. However, we actually have to apply for the application by May 11th. And then if you take the personnel, and I'm just choosing top line because it's here, you take this amount for personnel minus the SAFER allocation, minus the COPS allocation, and that would leave you with this. So at the top line, that would give you this, and if you're down here at the bottom at 30 cents, you'd have $17,000. So that's how it works throughout the sheet. So basically, this is kind of where we would need to be to able to fund where the where the survey says you should be based on your position. So what we've done, or what I've done, is took the survey, and if you were on a 4-3 or a 4-5, based off whatever that position is, you have a survey salary survey from median based off your position. So we've took that median and then went up in 3% increments until we received to the top out, and then we went down till we went to the first level. And if you were in your position and you were at a level 3, a 6, wherever you were, then I found your position on that scale for your position. So that is what it shows that you need to be to based off of the survey. So that's what,
Can I ask a question right here?
yes, sir.
On the Fire Safer grant and the Police Cops grant, have you got those projections figured in that 36?
On the 36,
36?
The cents
No,
needed at the
sir.
bottom is what it is.
They're not figured into that at all?
no, sir, they're not
Good.
loaded.
Good, because they shouldn't be, because we don't know what's going to happen on either one of them.
Right.
Okay, all right. I just wanna
We've
be sure.
applied, but I have not loaded them currently
Okay,
yet.
all right.
No,
So we're looking at that 25% line back. We're not looking at none of the Safer grant or,
Well, I will need to know whether I need to load them or, I need to know whether to load them or not, yes. Because if I need to load them, then we will be looking at this part for the rest of the city.
well, I think personally, we need to concentrate on the rest of it because we don't know what's going to happen on either one of them.
That's
I
correct.
don't think we need to take any action on something that we don't even know what's going to happen,
That's correct, but if they were awarded and then the board decided that they wanted to go forward
Right.
with them, then by using column H, I would not, if we were to use all of column H and we wanted to go forward with the Safer or the police, I would have not left enough room to allocate for those.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we need to be right now.
So,
So you're saying that if we don't include the numbers, we would not be able to fund it in the event they were awarded?
awarded and chosen to accept,
Accept.
correct.
We would have to look at another increase at that time to fund those if we wanted to do it.
Somehow, or we would
Yeah.
need to choose to stay with column.
Yeah, back off on some of what everybody across the board is going to get.
That is correct.
Yeah, which to me is not a very good choice, but
So,
anyway, okay, I just want to be sure.
Which, Jamie, would the police start this year would 25% start this year if they did get that grant?
the way the police grant is a 60-month overall grant. So it's a 3-year grant with funding at 75%. The fourth year we have to pay 100%, but it allows you 5 years. So it will allow you time for recruitment and hiring. So and I actually don't remember I know the application date's the 11th, but I'm not sure on the award date. So even if the award date was in July, we would have time for recruitment and that sort of thing. So we do have some time before we actually put those people into place. So if we wanted to wait if it was awarded in July or August and we wanted to wait until December, we would still have time to do that.
But we would need to include something in this budget that's why I
Yes.
want everybody to be for sure on the police
Yes.
thing, because we're going to have to pay for that one right off. The fire is 3 years without any
That's
money
correct.
toward it. And then police though
correct.
is this year, 25%. So I know everybody voted for them to take it forward to vote, but I wish we decide here tonight, are we really going to do that? Because we got to include that in here, at least for this year to budget if we're going to do it.
And
Well,
the
the
same,
only way, we can't take a vote on anything tonight.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying a head count.
Give-
what I'm-
yeah, give
you know what
a
I'm
head
saying, to
count.
see where we're at.
Because I understand what you're saying, so we're kind of being clear where we're going, but, if that grant is approved, it still has to come back to this board to vote to approve it. If this board votes to approve it, then yes, we got to look at the funding.
Right.
If there's not going to be enough votes to approve that grant, then it's going to be dead. then we know we have to be concerned.
But if it does get approved and we don't have
You
the
have to
money
allocate the
funded,
money for it,
then
right.
we're in a mess.
Well, just take
Right.
you know,
Well, I'd like to move forward without putting that in.
That's me too.
me too, I don't want it in there.
And then move it forward later if we win the grant, if we choose to do so.
You know,
You
I
can't
can,
fund it,
Have
then.
to see where the funding is coming from at that point, right?
I can only speak for myself, but I will not be changing my vote. If they get that grant, I will not be changing my vote, but I can't speak for anybody else. I was a no, I will still be a no, because I believe, and the reason for that is, it's not because, it's simply because that is gonna hurt everybody across the board. Everybody else, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna pull away from employees all the way across the board that desperately needs better raises, and it's gonna take away from them. That's what it looks like to me, and that was my reason all along.
Well,
Didn't have anything to do with, well, that was part of my reason. The other part was the way it was presented, was the other part.
But are you
anyway-
still not looking at hiring more officers no matter what?
I'll be honest, I've kind of changed on mine after I did some homework and realized that the 3 SROs were replaced. Because I was under the impression they weren't replaced.
That's what he said that night. That's why I threw in there, they were replaced. That was not a true statement.
So we're talking about not hiring any more officers.
I'm not.
Just we're not utilizing officers we got now as far as our canines, so that's what's aggravating, I guess. That's just my opinion. We're not utilizing them at all. Why do we even got canine officers if we're not using them like they're supposed to be used for?
I agree. We had a canine officer this morning on an overdose.
Yeah, but we're not using them like
Yeah,
we're supposed
like I
to
said,
use.
yeah, we're
That's
not
what I'm
using them
saying.
like we're supposed to be using them.
These officers we paid a lot of money for
But
these
we're
animals.
still down a position, aren't we, is why they're
But
helping on the
no,
others.
we're down 3 positions.
No.
But the positions are there to be had, they're just not filled,
Right.
is the problem. We need to fill what we have, and then the canines can do what they need to do.
That's 2 more, because they're both working different shifts. They're not working whenever they want to do what they're supposed to be doing at all. We're not doing any drug intervention. I mean, we're not doing anything of that nature. And some of that money goes to the drug fund, am I correct, when they do get stuff?
I don't know the answer to
I
that.
don't know,
And they use that
that
drug
sounds
fund.
more internal though.
Yeah, but they use that drug fund money whatever they choose to use for it, I think. So, I mean, we're not utilizing the officers that we got for their positions.
But I think as the board, I think we've provided plenty of positions from what I've looked at.
Right, I mean, I think that's where I'm at too.
So if we don't go forward with this, we're still going to have those positions open, and in hopes that somebody will come and fill it.
Right.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean, there's two positions need to be filled? Why
There's two
does that
positions
not make sense to
Well,
fill them?
there's 2 positions that need to be filled, right?
Right.
And we have 3 canine officers that are not being used to what they're supposed to be used for.
I'm not talking about canine though, I'm talking about regular positions. I thought you were saying why fill them. I'm saying get those filled back, then the canines aren't filling in for those positions,
Okay.
is what I was.
Yeah, as far as how the
But isn't
police
this
department is
grant
operating.
asking for 3 extra officers on top of all of that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's what I've changed my mind on.
extra.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
On
That's
top
what I'm
of
saying, I'm not for any
Positions that are
3,
open
I'm
now
like, get the
because
ones that are
They will be
open.
solicited to have those positions filled, correct? Isn't that right?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're looking right
Right.
now.
They are
What?
looking.
I don't know.
The positions that are open now are the ones who have gone on. And this, what we're talking about here is talking about 3 extra positions on top of what we
So
already
5
have.
positions.
We're talking about 33 positions, right?
Yeah, instead of 31.
Or whatever the number
Instead of
is.
31,
Isn't that
I
right?
think it's 31.
34, 3 new.
Exactly.
31.
And the 3 additional positions is what I'm referring to.
That's
Me
me
too.
too.
I thought you said it was 31
Yeah.
position.
It's 31 positions right now.
And we add 3.
And if we add 3 on
That's
this grant, it'd be
34.
34 positions. But, MTAS has come to us several times and said that we are way understaffed
Yeah,
in
they
the
do, the
police.
fire department.
Not
too.
on the police,
But
I
they
don't
don't,
think.
They
On fire they have.
they do.
MTS has said
But can
something?
we afford it? That's the question.
I don't know about the fire and MTS. I mean, I don't know about the police and MTS. The fire department, they wore us out on that. Kept telling us, you need more, you need more, you need more. I don't know about the police, I don't remember.
I'm just trying to get a workable.
I mean, because we
budget
just have a
for
few
everybody else.
officers covering these streets and, you know, like the chief says, we're just wearing them out. And
They're losing interest. I mean, they're getting burned out. We're burning them out. We've been
they're
burning
gonna
out for
leave
years.
and they're gonna go to a department that has a fully staffed shift.
Yeah, and not only that, they're
It's not
gonna,
gonna stay that way where they leave either, because it's already been proven that when they leave and go, we've had several leave, try to come back, because the grass is not greener on the other side.
well, and I agree with you on that. I mean, even though the grass looks green on the other side, that grass has got to be cut as well. But you have to understand that people are going to go to these other departments and they're going to say, I wouldn't go to Fayetteville because they don't make nothing. They don't have any help there.
Well, I can tell you right now, if we go forward and that grant comes in and we approve those 3 extra employees, what we will be doing is cutting the raises the other employees will get,
Gotta
that
find
we're
money
trying to
somewhere.
get raised up in order to keep the ones we've got. You know, that's the bottom line. That's what's gonna happen on that. That is going to take away. If we sit here and say, oh yeah, we're gonna prove that ahead of time and all, that is gonna take away X number of dollars that we can have to spread to everybody. I'm for helping everybody.
I think they deserve raises. I'm not saying they don't.
But I don't see any way we can't do both. We can't, and if we're gonna add 3 to the police department, I don't say they don't need them. Let's add 3 or 4 to the public works because they're 4 down right now. So let's add 4 to the public works because they're down.
They're down 4
Let's add 3 or 4 to the recreation. You might need a couple more up here to do something. Let's add about 12 or 15. If we're going to add employees to try to fill positions,
But let's start why we're losing people. Why are we losing people? Whether it be whatever department, public works, why are we losing people?
Well, that's what
pay.
we're looking at is pay right here to see.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
what do we
think,
got
yeah, I think it's the pay.
I'm good with
I'm
that.
good with giving, that's what I'm saying. We're losing people.
we're losing people because of pay, and we're losing people because of the younger generations does not stay with a job as long as people used to, no matter what.
That's true.
That's true, and that's
No
gonna be
matter
part of
what.
that. We gotta just move on from that. It's
No
gonna
matter
continue
what,
happening.
the younger generation, you know, when I went to work in a job, I worked there 40 years, I didn't think about leaving. Well, I might have thought about it, but I did. But nowadays, they work 2 or 3 years, and it don't bother them at all just to move on.
And it's, well, we have to change our thought process as well with them, because it's part of our life. It is gonna happen.
How are we as a board going to fix
The
that?
only way we can help that is better pay and maintain good benefits, which we've got. Do better pay. That will solve some of the problem, but we will never solve all of the problem because of the mentality that people has working now. The younger folks, they can go somewhere else and do better just like that, and it don't bother them at all. They've got the nerve to just pack up and leave.
What was
You can't blame them for that. I mean, I don't blame them at all
I
for
look at
that.
what the benefits add to their salaries, because that has to be counted in what the city
Well,
offers as well.
you know, the thing about that is.
They don't, they don't think like that, and we gotta
I-
understand
If you
that.
don't have the funds, I mean, I understand that. and-
I agree with that 100%. The benefits goes a long ways, but almost everybody's got benefits now. You can walk into a plant and get good benefits. You can go a lot of places and get good benefits. We're just fighting a battle. To me, we've got lower wages, and we need to have. I don't know the answer to keeping people here other than pay them better. And if that doesn't do it, maybe that'll keep a few of them here. Hopefully, that would keep a few of them here. I'm looking at the broad thing. I'm looking to try to help everybody. I'm trying to do something with these wages to help everybody across the board, not pick and choose. And that was one of the reasons that I voted the way I did. And the other reason I voted the way I did is the way it was presented. Flat out presented. I didn't like the way it was presented. That's the 2 reasons. But we can't vote on that anyway. It's against the whole rules for us to vote on anything.
We just took a straw poll.
We can express our opinion on that, I believe. We can express our opinion on if they get that grant, what's going to happen, it's our personal opinion. But as far as voting, I mean, we can't do that. I mean, that.
I don't believe that the police chief intended to misrepresent anything, because we've got to think about how many people came and left and came and left and came and left. The
And what you're-
SROs, yeah, and the SROs, were they filled and then it switched and we changed so many times. Last year, he was left off a police officer, so he only had 30 when he should have had 31. So I can understand the confusion there. I don't think anything was intentionally misrepresented to this board. But,
Well, we're
you know,
talking about the turnover too as well, but there's a lot of factors in turnover. And salary is not the only thing. Definitely not. So there's a lot of factors, and unless you do exit interviews to figure out what individuals, why they're leaving, you'll find out there's more than just salary.
I tell you, the best thing to do with that cop thing right there is leave it alone and see if they really get it or not. And then if they get it, make a decision as a board on what we want to do at that point. I don't see putting any money into that until they get the grant. If they get the grant and the board wants to put the money into it, do it at that time. Otherwise, if we make too much of an opinion on that right now, we're kind of getting off in an area we don't need to be in.
Yeah, we're talking about
We
something
need
that
to leave
could
that alone.
happen, or
I
possibly
think
could
we need to leave that alone and not do anything on funding that in this budget. Then if they get that grant, it's our job to make a decision whether we want to fund it or not. I think we need to leave it alone.
It's a
Where's that
hard grant to
gonna-
get.
Yeah, I
too.
agree
But
with
where's-
that.
where's
We
it
may
gonna
not
leave us
get it, but I think we ought
budget-wise
to
if
try.
we don't fund it?
But what would happen?
That'll help us make a decision.
That'll help us
on
make a
what we're gonna
decision.
do.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll help us make a decision. Do you want to fund it or not? You know, outside of all this other, but to make a very much of a hard decision at all here is a little bit risky. Probably the best thing to do is just kind of leave it alone, and if they get the grant, it's up to us to do what we want to do. That's what we're here for. If they get that grant, then make a decision on what we want to do with it.
What option is it without getting, if we, just say we got the grant, we didn't get the grant, we leave that off for right now, but what option do we got to give them the pay raise they deserved and quit losing them without raising taxes? We're
I
still
think
gonna have
that's
to
what we're
raise.
looking at on the left.
We're still gonna have to raise.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at on the left, I think.
Jamie, if we do not include it now,
It's gonna have to be.
where would the money come from, say, in a year? Or whenever it happens,
You'd have to-
if it
we got
happens?
You'd
3
have to do
years.
another tax increase.
Yeah,
You'd
For the
either
cops
you'd have
grant?
to do another tax increase, more than likely.
It could come from column I, which is
So
the
you could take it-
operating 25%,
Until you've done another tax increase,
correct?
yeah.
I mean,
Till the next
right
budget
now,
cycle.
we have, one thing about aged I and J, you know, when we do, if we do the 45%, whatever we end up putting in personnel, that's something we're not gonna take back. So that will be rolling, that will be ongoing. Operating and capital, I have these split out so that we could see them just on a, trying to build forward for capital, basically, is what I was kind of looking at. Saying if we wanted to allocate a certain percentage to build up capital, to build for these expenses and the trucks and the whatever that's coming down the pipeline, just looking to see how we can build that going forward. Now, we could always, if it's not set by the board, this could always be adjusted because this part is not allocated yet. I mean, you could allocate this during the budget time if you wanted to, but now the personnel, I mean, that's set.
So
But
once
you
we do the personnel, that's set.
I
pretty
mean,
much.
yes, because we're not gonna take it back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we do have a little bit more scrubbing on some special cases inside the file, but, so this number may change a little bit, but this is really close to where we think we're gonna be, but, 25 and I and J can be changed. So if we had a year that we needed more in capital and we didn't have it, I mean, you can pull from operating. Basically, that's what we already do anyway. We take from operating and put so much towards capital. So you can still do that, or you can set it and say X amount of cents goes to capital every year, period, and it just be that way. However, the board chooses to do it. But if you don't, that gives us more flexibility. So with all that said, the COPS amount would have to come from It would just have to come from whatever we have left in the cents increase. So we would still have money here to do it, but not if we left it in this and said, okay, we want column I to go to raising our fund balance. We want to bring our fund balance back up. We want to leave this towards the things that operating we had to cut out this year. So I mean, there's things that we couldn't do that the department heads asked to do in operating. Same thing with capital. So that's why they do have a separate bucket. So there will be an impact. It's just which one do you choose to cover? It's just a juggling. But if we do the COPS grant, that will be 3 employees, which would come with training, which would come with fully burdened. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we'll do. And once we add that COPS grant, it goes into the personnel bucket, what's permanent. So, and same thing with the fire grant. If we do the fire grant, it goes into the personnel, which is permanent. So that leaves us less to play with in our I&J column.
So are you saying do away with the fire too? Is that correct?
I would leave it alone. We don't have to worry about it for 3 years anyway if they get it. If we approve
We've
it.
got a budget for it.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it now, but if we allocate for that money now, we would use it all, if that makes sense. So like if we don't figure it in our allocations that we're doing for this budget and allow enough room to cover that, we're going to have to find it somewhere else later. But if we left enough room to allocate for it, we could say put back $150,000 each year that we would not have spent and let that build somewhere or something or whatever.
But not for 2
There's something
departments.
else that's connected with that fire grant though. And we might need to talk about that a little bit right now before we do much on that fire grant right now. The study you've done, or we've looked at the wages of the firemen.
Yes.
We might get to the point of where have you got something figured out that we can look at?
I do.
Is it a bad time to look at it since we're talking about that fire grant?
No.
Might not be able to do both. Because, you know, I'm more concerned with the wages of these employees than I am having people. We might get to the point to look at the wages, helping the firemen and get them more than they need to be or better along anyway, and that might take way priority over 3 more employees, what it might do. So let's take a look at it.
Okay, so this one is kind of busy. I apologize. I'm going to kind of walk through it a little bit. Let's walk through this square that I'm going to have highlighted. Currently, you go from a firefighter to a firefighter 1, firefighter 2, based off your certifications. The orange ones are current certifications that a fireman can get in today's world, which is a firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and an EMR first responder. So on our pay scale, you can go from the base level to a hazard pay, and then you go from hazard pay to first responder pay. So there's 3 different levels. One thing that Tony and I were kind of working on, he wanted to propose to have some new incentives or some new things for the firefighters. So they have a hazmat tech certification that they have to do, training that they have to do. So he's proposing that adding a certification pay for that for 25 cents. Currently, too, they have EMR. So EMR first responder is something that they're required to have based on each position has certain certifications that you have to qualify. You have to get per firefighter, engineer, lieutenant, captain as you go down. So adding the EMT would allow them additional training and additional response activities that they wouldn't have as an EMR. And to do that, it's requested to give 30 cents versus 25 because they will have to have an additional training. And then Swiftwater. Currently, most of our firemen have Swiftwater training, but they're not compensated for the Swiftwater training. So that is a proposal. And then fire officer would be something that would be for a lieutenant and a captain. Because most of these certifications, or all of them except for a fire officer, is based off of your beginning levels. So if you look at this square, so we're going to start out at $13 for a beginning firefighter off the street with no training whatsoever. And then they have the ability to obtain the certifications of up to $1.30 per hour, which that would contain the hazard pay, which is firefighter 1, firefighter 2, the hazard material tech, the EMT, which that's the highest of the EMR, EMT, and then the swift water, which would take them to $1.30 extra per hour. That would be a $14.30 per hour, and then a base 1-1 level of $40,526. I will show you.
What's base right now, Jamie, the way they're set up? What is?
I have it. It may take me a second to find it. Here. So currently, based off, you can see here we have hazard pay, first responder, regular pay. So when they come in with no training whatsoever, they start as $11.39. We're going to start them at $13. And then based on their certifications that they acquire, they would go to $12.30 based on the current. So based on the proposal, they would go to $14.30. Now, one thing that I looked at is how does a firefighter, based on our proposal scale, balance out to our police department? Because I wanted to make sure that we did not get out of sync with other departments. So, I'm sorry, I've been doing a lot of sheets. So our proposed patrolman certified annual would come in at $40,576.20. And then at our $13 base, $14.30 certified fireman 1 would come in at $40,526.20. So existing today, a patrolman is a level 4 and a fireman is a level 3. So doing this and taking these certifications, so both certified, they would be within $50 of each other. So it's pretty much level between a fireman and a police officer.
Would this program, this plan you got, I'm assuming the fire department would have their own pay scale set aside from everybody else.
Correct.
Would
I
have to have.
would propose that because there's so many different options for them
Right.
to gain a certification that the certifications themselves, I would request and provide it to the board that they, and I'm sorry, again, I keep going all over the place, adopt the certifications that the board would allow or approve. Like I said, currently the yellows are existing and the greens are proposed. Well, of course, sorry, and this white one, those are proposed. If the board approves those certifications, I would request that they approve this certification along with the pay scale of the fire department.
How many pennies on the tax rate is that?
Which the $1.30.
If we go with this, how many cents? And if we went with this plan, we're talking $13, $14 an hour still, but I see you talking about some add-ons. If we go with this plan right here on getting the fire department upgraded some with this plan, how many pennies on the property tax will we have to do to cover it? 9, 10, 9 or 10 cents?
Currently, right now, it's coming in around 173. And of course, like I said, we need to continue to scrub before we ever put anything into place. But $0.08.
8 cents on the property tax? Well, I guess pretty close.
Is that, you're saying the 40,576 or 40,526, does that include the way, I know that they're paid differently, the hours and everything.
Yes,
Would
that
this still
includes-
level out here based on?
Yes, what I'm looking at is, and it's kind of wanted to steer away from the hourly again, you know, but base to base and annual to annual is why I wanted to show you the annual of a fireman versus the annual of a police officer. Because annual to annual, they're very, very close. Now hourly, of course, they're not going to be, because it's still based on a 106 versus a 80. It's a 106 versus a 80. That $13 is actually, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it's gonna make it a little more complicated, but it's calculated at a 109 versus the 80. And the 109 is due to calculating their overtime of a 4.5 hours overtime that they receive every month.
So this helps. This is a step in the right direction.
Okay.
A big step, right? Is
Yes.
Tony, is he good with this plan?
Yes, sir.
All right, now you've talked to Tony, I'm sure. Now I'm going back to I wanted this put out here for a reason. I'm going back to the grant with the 3 employees.
Yes.
You talked to Tony. If Tony could only get one of these, which one would he take?
I think after talking to Chief Kimbrough, he would choose to support the current existing employees that he has.
Which one?
The existing employees he
The
has.
raise.
Yeah,
Do over the grant.
yeah.
I think they all want to raise.
How many firemen
Across
do
the
we
board,
have?
right? Yeah.
I believe it's 20.
20 total. That's everybody. That's chief,
Yes.
everybody. They don't
That
have
is,
any,
that's total department.
everybody. They don't have they don't have any secretaries, they don't have anybody.
That's correct.
So, but I just wanted to know because that's the character that Tony is, and he would take this. If he couldn't get but one, he would take this and continue working them 24-hour shifts and not get anything for it, him and Davey.
That is correct.
And I know that's the truth because I asked him. That's what he told me. He said, for my employees, our employees, if I can't get both, if we can't get both, I want to help our employees. We'll just continue to work in 24-hour shifts, not get anything for
I
them. If
think
he
it
couldn't
might-
get to 3, so, I think that says a lot about a leader, a lot.
I think most of our department heads would say that, though.
You got that right.
I mean, I think they would. They
Yeah,
want
I think they
to,
would.
they want to
Yeah.
give them, the employees that they have,
do.
they want to give them a raise, they want to keep them.
I believe you're right.
They know their work habits and everything, so I think any department
I
head.
think it would. I tell you, we're going to probably end up with some type of a tax increase. I'm for adding the 8 cents on and doing this plan right here. Whatever tax increase we end up having, I'm for doing the 8 cents if that's what it takes to do this plan right here. Because really, he's not really hitting a big home run with this plan, but it's better. It's a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
I like this plan because it's looking at annual salary, not hourly, because fire is so different than any other position we got. And it's putting them, police and fire, okay, this is annual. And so I'm good with this right here too.
I think that would help a little bit of a conflict between them two departments on pay. I think it'd go a long ways in solving that conflict.
Yes.
I really do. Now, here's another question though. Okay, if this is, it's out there on its own, this plan is kind of, aside from everybody else. So when we give, whether it be a 3, 6, or 9% raise or whatever, okay, when we do that, every year, the board's just coming up. So is that about the same percentage that this plan would get to? I guess it is. It's-
Are you talking about for
Let's
the
say
remainder of the
that, let's say
city?
if we put this plan in place. Let's say next year, we look at raises next year, we're gonna do a percentage raise. This plan is separate out there kinda, but this plan would get the 3% increase like everybody else. Or-
Yes, and the only thing, as far as a plan, the only thing is they would have a separate pay scale.
Okay, that's all,
So their annual would not be
yeah.
it would
They
just
would-
have a separate piece of paper.
They would
that's all.
continue to get the same raise everybody else gets.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, I like it. I think it's
In
fair.
the police department, we don't necessarily have to do that way because they're basically the 80 and 160 because
No, I don't.
their overtime would fluctuate and they would not receive overtime until they reached over the 171, which fluctuates.
Right.
So they're not guaranteed the overtime as a fireman is on the 4.5 hours.
That overtime has been a sticking point. What can we do? I've asked, I guess, and we've asked the city administrators in the past to take a look at it maybe. What can we do as a board to help cut that overtime on all of these events? Can we not prioritize these events? I'm not too concerned about the employees that's already on shift doing, like the funeral processions and all. But what can we do as a board without hurting the community really bad? What can we do to kind of get this under control?
So
What can
like
we-
Vice Mayor Bryant, one of the things that we started doing in Police and Fire Committee, we started looking into that last month. So we have had segments in what month is it now? We had segments in April and May committee meetings. We are planning on giving a comprehensive
Okay.
plan in the committee in July. So we're looking at the events, whether we want to even charge permit applications, just looking at a whole bunch of scenarios. We even got a meeting coming next week with at least one retired policeman about some ideas he was having about having
Okay.
retired policemen work overtime. So we're looking at it, and it's been through the committees last 2 times, and we plan to have another session in July with a comprehensive plan in June, and then a comprehensive plan in July for the whole board to look at.
Any chance, any idea maybe of cutting that overtime,
Well,
30, 40% or 50?
One of our goals that we talk about finance director is that we do want to cut some of that down.
Right.
We realize that we can't cut the entire amount down, but we do want to at least, I think it's 50,000 proposed. We do want to cut that down a percentage.
Okay. I think that's on the overtime situation to help those employees that's working a lot of hours. I think it's on us to help figure a way to do that.
Right.
On you, I guess.
Yeah,
You and the committee.
We're going to find some strategies. I mean,
Yeah,
we've been looking
and
at
the
a lot of
chief.
municipalities in Tennessee in particular to see what they're doing about that. So
Okay.
that's a goal in July.
Well, we know we got some that we can't do anything with, the biggies. But maybe some of them would do something.
How many officers come out on first Saturdays?
I was not here this past first Saturday, but in April, I think I saw maybe 5, would you say? Was it in there?
I was here Saturday morning and there was no officer at First Friday.
Okay.
Now, we had a situation and they did come by and handle the situation. I think the officers on duty come and they patrol and if there's a problem, but as far as stationed at First Saturday, there are none.
What I was saying is I don't think there need to be in a stationary area in the first. They do ride around all the time anyway.
And allow me to correct. I may have seen 5 just in general.
Yeah, and they could have been on duty that day.
And I know they got those kids coming out now for the first time. That was
Yeah, they
pretty-
have the
that-
new Explorer
That was pretty,
on there.
I like that
Yeah.
idea. That's
Yeah.
fine. I think that's good. It's a great idea. But there's a lot of events we probably do not need cops present patrolling them like hand in hand because there's a lot of counties and little small cities, they don't have them all the time. I think we're burning ours out on these events.
Yeah, First Saturday is small enough that as long as we have somebody in the
Presence.
area and they're aware, that First Saturday is going on. Now, in your festivals with Slawberger and Host, due to the amount of people, you need.
Yeah, I agree, they do.
But they're kind of in and out there. The main thing with First Saturday, if the people will leave the barricades alone because they put them out late at night, like midnight or after, and then the Honey's crowd comes in early and moves the barrels and lets all their group in, Well, then we've got to get them out. So if they would leave the barrels alone, we would know.
Who's in charge of that, Main Street? They don't have anybody come out and check that early in the morning. Somebody gets paid on Main Street, don't they?
Yes, but that's a police thing to barricade.
Right,
We
but
don't
it's just to
have
come
the
and check
authority.
before their vendors get here. I would assume.
Yeah, they're here, they're checking, and, that's why they called me, and I came and helped them, we got it all handled, nobody, no harm, no foul, you just have to shoo them out every first Saturday, but if they'll leave the barrels alone, it's taken care of, so.
Well, another thing to think of, like at a class reunion, they say, hey, you need 2 officers, y'all take care of those 2 officers, you pay for them.
That's what a lot of people
That's a
do.
way to really cut down on
Absolutely.
some of that stuff happening, I think. Plus, I don't know, that's an idea too.
And these runs, I know a lot of people love to run downtown, you have the different terrains, but maybe go where there's not, you have to have an officer at every red light or every stop sign.
Right.
Get an area to run or walk, whatever you're gonna do, that's not as congested with traffic. Because that really,
Well, some of these runners could put on vest or something, it's putting on this runs. They could put on, when they send the flyers out, they can know there's gonna be people in an orange vest or something. And they could help out, and we could stop and save a little money there as well.
There's probably some of these officers that really like sober time.
yeah.
I don't know about all of them.
Well, they do, but they're
You
getting brought
cut
out.
out, you cut out a lot of it, because a lot of them thrive off of it, that's right, that's correct. They rely on it.
Well, the reason I want to get this out here is looking at priorities. The fire chief's priority is this right here. Now, the 3 employees that gets the grant, whatever the board wants to do about that.
So I guess for me, I would need to know, should I load the fire grant? That'd be the first question. Because there's going to be, and we can go through each one of them. There will be training, because currently I took everything out. I took out the training that's associated. I took out the equipment that's associated. I took out the payroll that's associated.
I would say no.
Since there's only 20 employees down there trying to do it all, I don't have a problem with you loading the fire safe grant.
How would it be any different than the police? What I'm saying is why would we say one's more special than the other?
Well, right now, the fire department's got 11 fewer employees.
And the police officers are down too, though.
Well, we talk positions.
Yeah, position-wide.
Positions.
So with either
Police have
grant,
31.
I would need direction whether to prepare for the future and load any of those activities, because
I'm
just
okay
the
with
Lord
preparing
knows.
for the future on the fire grant, on
Or
the
the
cops
cops.
grant. I'm not right now. I'd rather wait on it.
So
Do we
just,
know when the fire grant will be awarded? You know,
I don't know tonight. I can get the number, but
If he even gets it. Might not even get it.
that's correct. Or,
might not even get it.
if we're going to do the increases for the fire department, are we even going to go that route at this point? That would be a board decision.
It's not a rush on it. Even if he gets it, you're talking like 3 years before you have to start.
But if we allocate that money within the tax increase that we have, it would be harder to find the money for it later.
Well, let's just leave both of the grants alone right now and do the grants later then. Let's just go with this right here as far as I'm concerned, and we'll deal with the grants if they pass.
So how would the board like to go forward with the remainder of the city employees other than fire department?
Well, you tell us what have you worked out? Where's your,
Okay.
what have you, I mean, to me, it looked like to me, the only way I know to do this would be, because we've got steps, it looks like to me that if you do one step, you're talking 3%, you do 2, you're talking a little over 6%, right?
It is, but each position is at a different, they're kind of at a different scale, per se.
Well,
If
you tell us what you worked out.
Okay, so if you take the salary survey, it will tell you where each position should be based off of the job that you perform.
Okay.
And that's basically what everything we've done, HR's done, I've done, that we've looked at is based off of the scale, this survey that we've been prepared for. And it was done in 2022, so that's the newest one that we have. And we've looked at every position and put each employee in
Okay.
the role based off of their job description. And based off your job description is where you fall, and then where you fall is based off of where that salary says your median should be, which is back to what I discussed earlier in the meeting. So we would just need to know, basically, if we could get guidance on where the board would feel comfortable going, and then HR and Kevin and I, we could look and see with that allocation that the board would approve, how could that be spread to make as many people whole, I guess as you can say, based off where they should be as their level.
What is the 36 cents number down there? What is that?
That is, it would take 36 cents to meet this number, this 779. But you have to think the fire department's in that number as well.
And the
Yeah.
police officer in that number too. Everything was in that number.
That's correct. Everything's in there.
So that's everybody.
That is correct.
And how does that relate down to the fire department? 8 cents?
The fire department's included in that number. This is
You've already got that in
Everything's in
there.
there.
So what will that 36 cents do for
that will put everybody to where the salary survey says that they should be based on what position they're in, what the salary says they should be based off of what level they're at
But
currently.
then you've got operating capital to look at.
Yes, so that goes back to what number do I plug here to get this breakout? And we can change these numbers. So if we were to put, I don't know what number we need to put, but if we were to put 70 cents there, that gives us 32 to personnel, 18 and 21. So if we were to massage these numbers any at all, these numbers change. So there's a little bit we could do to maneuver this around, however the board would want to
So-
do it.
Right now, we're at $1.50,
That's correct.
right? And we're $1.50. I see right in the middle, I see a $2.10. What would $2.10 do?
That's 60. That would give 27 cents here, 27 cents for personnel, 15 for operating, and 18 for capital.
But we actually need 36 to do the full survey, right?
To the full survey, yes.
Instead of 27.
Now that's going to be, you've got some positions that have different, the percentages are all over the board. Some are showing high 20s, some are showing low, some are showing negative. Of course, we would put in a base first percent and then go through. So, it just depends on what position you're in, basically. So it's not.
So if you did the 27 across the board on salaries, the 8 cents is still in the fire department plan.
Yes.
So then you got 19 cents to play with, you might say.
Do you have it broke down by department?
I do.
Okay.
It's in a file. I have a file here that I've built that's got a lot of detail here, and then I break it down per.
But I have found one department might have been off more than another department, right?
It's
Some are
positions.
heavier than others, yes.
Okay.
But if we just put the 8 cents on fire and the other ones we don't fully do them or do them at the same level, then we're getting off again.
That's what I'm saying, we need the full 36
We need to be
cents
full,
to give it.
I agree. I mean, we need to be straight across the board.
Or whatever it is,
Jumping
if it's
around.
36 cents or if it's 30 cents, we might not can get all the way to the median, what the median says, but we can get closer to where we
Yes.
are. Then you've got to think about, we've got a couple of people who are right at the median, so do they get nothing?
Well, it doesn't take them to the median based on if you are a 3-2, or if some we have that are 12s that have been here that are 12s, you're still going to be at 12 based on that schedule. So you're not going to lose your seniority, you're not going to lose whatever you are is what you're going to stay. The median, based off the survey, gave us a median point. And then I built out our scale is based on 3% levels. So I went down from the median 3% to get us to a 1 level. And then I went up to 12 to get us to the 12th level. So the median from the survey is what everything it starts with. And then I built the scales per position from that median, if that makes sense. So if you were a 3-5, so say if you were, I don't know, let's just take a fireman. If you were a firefighter 3-2, you're going to go a firefighter, because there's not a level anymore, it's just position, so you're a firefighter 2.
Okay, so penny-wise, the new rate, where would the new rate need to be to hit that 36 number?
36.
What would the new rate need to be? Over here on the left-hand side,
He's talking about personnel.
the property tax rate.
If we do this, it puts us within that much. And that's close enough that and we can massage these. It doesn't have to be this breakout. We could put, we could change this here and here if we wanted to. So if we changed that,
So I'm gonna say,
yeah, 75. So it's probably going to end up being one of these two based off of how we do it. And I still think that there's going to be a little bit of scrubbing in here. So I would think one of these two.
If it was 220, which I came into this meeting with that at the very top, saying I'm not willing to go no higher than 220, just within myself without seeing all these numbers.
Sure.
So if it was at 220, you should be able to move those numbers around some over there on operating capital, make everything work.
Sure.
I got a real problem. I got a real problem going any higher than 220. I want to do all we can to get the employees where they need to be. That would be a pretty good jump.
And the way it's set up, will all the employees see a raise?
She just said no, I thought. You said if you're 12.
Well,
Or will they get 3%?
Or if you're already at the median,
Then you do.
then you don't.
Oh, you don't. Yeah.
well, the median is in the middle, but if you're 12, you will, because this scale moves everybody up because they weren't where they needed to be. Their first one is not the same. Does that make sense? So most of the positions, the only time you wouldn't is if you were overpaid in your position currently. Which the way I've built it is everybody gets a base of a certain percent to start with. And I think I've got a base of like 2%, but we could build it a base of 2% or a base of 3%, and then we build the second wave on top of that. So that if you are already per survey showing that you're making more than what you should be per your position, you would still receive an increase.
Do we have, that brings up a question. Now, I will kind of put this in. This doesn't have anything to do with what we're going to do, so maybe we won't get nailed bad times, okay? But I think the county is going to be voting to go to $3, and they're either going to be voting to go to $3.10 or $3.20. so that's what they're gonna be looking at doing, but, so that's 320 right there. 220, $1 less is kind of a stopping point for me, I guess you'd say, because I think they're gonna be looking at going. They're 210 right now. I think they're going to 310 or 320 if they get enough votes to do it. So that 220 number is not quite as scary, I guess you'd say, in comparison, but, because it doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing at all. I'm just putting that out there. But the question I was going to ask, you would know this. We asked a question about, it was about one position that was under, and I think we pretty well resolved that maybe, that wasn't up where they should be. Do we have any positions that you know of citywide that is over where they should be, that somehow or another they got 2 levels up or whatever, and how did it get there? Do we have any positions like that?
We have a couple of positions that we think are way over there.
And you're dealing with that?
We're dealing with
Whatever that is.
Yes, we're
Right,
dealing
I
with
just-
it.
just wondered,
And just by the salary study, these 2, maybe 3 positions that were rated very high.
Way over.
Really?
Didn't we fix this 2 years ago and we wrote checks for some people that we
No, that
didn't?
was the fire department.
That was fire?
We didn't.
That was a rate issue.
Well, I wasn't talking about comparative study. You know, I was talking about compared to what pay scales we got right now in effect. The pay scales is in effect right now. Do we have anybody that's 1 or 2 steps above where 3 steps or whatever, above where they should be?
We don't have many, but we do have a few, maybe 3 that are just kind of up there really
Have you
high.
figured out how they got there?
I think so. I
Okay,
think
all right,
so.
well, you're working on it, so.
Yeah. And I mean, they're not the top
Right,
heavy folks, but
okay.
yeah, we have a few that are a little more.
But I like the way this is structured because it doesn't look at the person. It looks at the position. No matter if your position is sanitation or if
agree.
your position is whatever, it doesn't look at the person.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes that
I
factor
agree,
out of it.
I think that's a good, I think that Jamie and whoever's done all this,
You know,
and
Pam.
whoever, Pam and you,
You
and
had a
I think
nightmare
you've just
with
done
your
an
dad.
outstanding job. We've never had, and I'm not saying anything bad about anybody in the past, we've had some really good people, but we've never had anything this detailed and laid out there. We just never have.
Okay, so to go back and to cover this salary, 779, you're gonna have to, and stay at the 220, you're gonna have to increase your personnel percentage by how much? You gotta go up to 55?
Oh,
Because right there, you're not gonna make it.
I think about 56%, I'll put it at 36 cents
oh, you're talking in between.
on the personnel percentage.
Yeah, because it has to be
Did you say
36,
56?
is that what we're saying? Across
39.
Go to 55 was a little less though, I think.
That gives me 5
That's,
over.
you're still about,
Yeah, and I'm 5 over.
There you go, right there.
That 102 is in the negative there.
107.
Oh, so I'm a penny over. No, I'm 5 cents over.
you got 55.
Yeah, 55,
that should be a hundred.
55, 45.
Yeah, that
Is
should
it
be a
the
hundred, yeah.
39, 14, 18? Is that what's,
That comes up to be the 70. No, that's still a penny over, you're right.
That's 100%. I'm going down. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. So that would give us 48,000 over if we stayed at 55%.
What if you went to 50? Could you bring it down to 50? Or would that not be enough?
We would not have enough. No.
We have plenty at that point.
And then it
Okay,
goes
that's-
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's still
But do
not,
we
because
need
you're at
36?
752 and you gotta have 779. But then you said
I think
there's
that
still
right there,
some
I think
adjustments.
this,
That's a penny, I'd say
is.
it'd be 51% than 26.
because I still think that there's some scrubbing in this number.
Uh-huh.
So I mean,
We might have to give them a rate we wouldn't to deal with and let them deal
yes,
with it.
yes, I think so. I think this is
Let them move the numbers
this is
around wherever.
comfortable. I mean, of course, it's all comfortable, acceptable, but if we can get it that close, I mean, I know that this number is going to move some. I'm just not sure how
That's still at
much.
the 220.
I'm sorry.
That's still at the 220 period.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yes, here.
So we're looking at 70 cents.
The new rate of tax would be $2.20 increase.
It's a big jump, but look at here, what has happened here, we know what's happened, I don't have to tell them about what's
10
happened.
years.
What has happened here, well, yeah, but that's probably about right, that's about where we need to be, but we waited over 10 years to do anything. And then we should have done something earlier, but we didn't, because taxes is hard, that's a hard thing to do, that's a hard vote to make. And then we came along with several grants that saved us. Then we came along with American Rescue Plan. In about the last 3 years, we've been living on that. It's all gone. The auditor, if you looked at some of the wording that this auditor used in some of his correspondence, it was really a red flag that we best find some revenue from somewhere or the fund balance is going to sink. Now, he was telling us that in a real mild way, but and I don't know any other way to get any more revenue. Sales tax is going to be what it's going to be. We don't even, I mean, we can't raise sales tax no way, not a vote. But whatever we decide to do, if we decide to go up on the property tax, we certainly need to have in very good detail where it will all be going. I mean, every penny of it will be going. It'll be going to, whether it be going to salaries, whether it be going to operating, what in operating, whether it be going to capital, what in capital. Well, one of them is what was that fire truck going to cost? $2 million.
In today's dollars,
Yeah, that's
yes.
what we're looking at. And we don't have, how much do we have in capital?
At the end of FY24
Right.
currently, end of FY24, 160,000 projected.
And we're looking at a $2 million fire truck
Yes,
a couple of years down the road.
correct.
It's just them decisions that we get beat up on, that we get elected to make. That's how I look at it. You know, that's how I look at it. It's just, there is no private business, it's nowhere. If you go to the grocery store or you go to the gasoline and all that, everything's been sky high. And we've kept everything down, we've kept the taxes down for all this, but I just believe I don't believe we're going no further without seeing fund balance tank and getting in trouble with state comptroller. That's where I'm at, and I don't know any other way to do it. I don't see any other way.
And even at this rate, it's gonna take about 5 years, 6 years to come up with $2 million for the fire truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're racing to get there on capital.
Probably longer than that, and more than likely what'll happen is we have to get that fire truck 2 or 3 years. We would probably have to do something like a short-term loan, like a 5-year loan, instead of, I don't think you'd want to do a bond issue on a fire truck. We might have to do Jeff knows more about this stuff than I do. On those vehicles, police vehicles, we did a 3-year low-interest loan. paid them off in 3 years. And that fire truck, we'll probably have to do the same thing. But we got to have the money to make payments though, if we do it that way. But if we don't start building fund balance, and we don't start building capital, and we don't start putting some money in operations, and don't start putting some money in employees, what we're looking at right here, we're just gonna be going downhill, sliding downhill.
Are we still doing 250 from general fund every year into capital? Is that something built in right now? We were doing that.
Currently, this year, I transferred in FY '24's, it's 240,000 from general fund, and we pulled 241,000 from the debt fund.
Okay, so what would that put us at current over that 160? What would we be with those?
Well, we're proposed to spend it all that we're going in there, so 160 is what we're going to end,
I got you.
propose
24.
that balance
I got you.
into the end of FY '24.
And we're gonna be.
That's what we're gonna come out with projected.
Another year or two, we're gonna be looking at a garbage truck. More than likely, another year or two, if we're lucky, get that going down the road. And I just don't, if we buy those garbage trucks out of regular capital, instead of like we've been trying to buy them out of sanitation, we need to get them out of the regular capital, because sanitation does not build up enough funds to buy a garbage truck.
Yeah, I can't support it right now.
And we do good just to pay them to employees. Really do.
So if the board is okay with what I have highlighted, then I can work with the HR department and Mr. Owens, and I can budget for the 70 cents, and then I can work on a version of this on building the increases into the employees and blow that through the budget, and then see how everything falls out, and then have that as a proposal for the June 15th or 13th days.
Yeah,
I'll have it prior to that. but-
I think I'd like to see it all together.
Sure.
Before we had to vote on it.
Sure, oh, absolutely.
I'd like to
Yes.
get it in my mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, trust me, I want to too. But
Yeah.
I will go ahead and take this direction and update the budget accordingly, and then see how the numbers do. And of course, for this year, I will not change anything that I've already got loaded for operating or capital. So those will be upside for next year on budget, operating and capital. The only thing I will, unless directed otherwise, is change the personnel. And then, if I'm correct, we will not change anything loaded for SAFER or the COPS grant.
I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait on both of them. I really have. I'd just rather wait.
So just as long as everyone understands, if those come back and they're agreed for the board, I'll have to load training, I'll have to load equipment, personnel, everything will have to be loaded just as if we just
Well,
got it.
Tony has already made it abundantly clear that if he can help their employees, and he doesn't get those three, extra three, as long as he can get those salary increases for his employees, him and David will keep on filling in those 24-hour shifts. His focus is on his employees.
Correct.
And if he doesn't get the three, it's not going to break his heart.
So
It's not going to break his heart.
that's where I will go from here unless anyone has any different directions. That's my
That
next
sounds
step.
good there, Jamie. Are we still the same on the outside agencies? Has there been any changes or anything on that anybody?
I have not changed anything.
Okay. I do know that the county is looking at, on the Humane Society, 65,000 instead of 75.
They gonna cut it? They going down?
Let me explain what Mayor Newman said. He said, they never
Let me
did
get some more candy. I
They
need,
said they never did officially vote to.
Yeah, they said they did not officially vote for the and I mean,
okay.
they did not officially vote for the 75,000. They were at 65.
Okay.
It was gonna go to 75, but when we went month to, then it all kind of went to heck. We went month to month, and so, but I just wanted y'all to know that
We're
they-
still doing month to month, right?
At this current time, yes.
I believe we're ready for Plan B.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and we even got a Plan C now.
But now we got Plan C.
All right.
They went down on that, they went up to the art center and gave them 25 for the art center.
Yeah, they're putting air conditioning in the, I really do wish that we would give something to the arts.
Why can't we?
We can if everybody agrees.
The county gave 25.
Can we not give at least 1,500?
They were 1,800 short.
Carriage House Players and the Arts Center, the two arts that we're not giving anything to. Unless this board agrees among yourselves to,
We never have before. We've never contributed to them. Never have.
Well, Mr. Bryant, I mean, you said a while ago that you want to help and you want to help everyone out. Why can't we help everyone? I mean, helping the arts out.
We'll help all the employees out.
Well, and helping all our employees out, that's great and good. But our community itself has,
If
you know,
get
children
enough-
and
If you
people.
get enough people want to give them some, go ahead and get them. That's part of it. I only speak for myself. I don't speak for anybody else.
I think they're short $1,800 from gutters or something, donating. I could be mistaken. Maybe somebody can help me out on that, that knows more about the art
what they're
center.
doing is they're having to go around the building because the way the street is elevated and it slants directly into their building. I know Public Works went along the road and they put up a little handmade curb trying to stop the water from overflowing, but it still overflows, and then that water seeps into the basement. So what they're looking at, they want to put a barrier around the building itself that would stop the water going in.
What was the price on that? 70.
8,000. But, I mean, anything would help.
No, I think, am I right? Did somebody say they were short $1,800? Or did I misread something?
Maybe if the county gave them 25,
They
because
got
they only
25.
needed 20,000 to put the air conditioning in upstairs, and they were probably using the extra 5 to go toward this drainage. And somebody else, they got another little stipend of money somewhere, but, you know, I just think we need to be a good, I mean, these people, they have classes every single day. Children all ages from everywhere come, and they have different classes, and they really spend the time there. Parents use this as a encouragement to get their kids to,
You got the original sheet with
you
the
know,
ask for?
participate in school activities and things like that. And we say that we support the arts as a city, but we really don't.
There was a certain amount they asked for, and we said no. I'm missing it. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Oh, it was originally 8. That's what they asked for, and I think that's where they went to the county, got 25,000 from the county.
2,500 or 25,000?
I
Yeah,
think they got
25,000.
25,000 from the county.
They did. What you told me about?
I would like to see them get $2,000.
Was that ARPA
That's
money
just,
that the county gave them?
Yes.
They had a lot of ARPA money left over too that they're trying to distribute.
but I think it's going to be a continuous every year with them helping out, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. It'll turn
That's
into
what I'm
every
afraid
year.
of too. It's you let somebody else in new, and next year somebody else shows up at the door too.
But they've been around for quite some time without any help.
But we gave other people increases, and we're not gonna give them anything.
I don't deny the fact that, you know, like Mr. Alder said, people come in every single year and asking for this. You give somebody an inch, and that's a possibility they may take a mile on it, and I get that, I understand. But the point is like if you give to this person this time and you don't give to this person, but you continue to give to this person, it's like you're just pushing this over to the side. We don't care about you, we care about this one, and only this one. So what does that say about us? I mean,
But if we haven't added since I've been on the board.
We added
I'm
Camp
afraid
Blunt.
if we added 2 more, then next year it'd be 20 more on. I don't know.
We added Camp Blunt, they're new.
well, I mean, we
Was
could.
that a one-time thing?
I mean, we'll have a solution to all of it. I mean, what we could do is just not give nothing to nobody. I mean, take it all and keep it saved, and then we can put that money into this stuff that we're working on right here. I mean, you could do that. I mean, not trying to be a, negative downy here, but I mean, like I said, if you give to one, but not to these others, what are you saying about those people?
Well, I mean, there's 50 nonprofits that hadn't asked for anything.
Yeah, I mean, you give
I
all
mean,
your money away if you gave it to everybody.
Hands of
in the city
Mercy's
that
never
needs
came and
something.
asked for anything.
There's been several shelters that have come over the years that we haven't done anything. I mean, there's a lot of people that are worthy of something, but you can only have so many on a list.
Well, if we're not going to do it,
Well, I'm speaking for myself. I made a promise to her that I would say something in the meeting because she did ask to bring it back up again, and I don't mind. And
I did as well.
Or did you? I didn't know. I know I talked to her, but I would like to see just give us $2,000 to the Art Center so they can fix theirs up. That's me, but I told her I'd do it. That's it. What I can do, and that's it.
So they requested 8 from us. How much did they request from the county?
I don't have any idea what they requested, but they did get 25.
I mean, they got 25 though. That's what I'm wondering, if they still even have the, I don't know.
I think it was going to cost a total of 20-something. I don't know. I'm just saying I know they needed money for 2 items that needed to be fixed because the kids were upstairs without air in August or something. September's getting hot.
Well, local artists had their art upstairs in the museum. And it's just a beautiful venue. It's an old church, but the artists could not leave their canvas there throughout the year due to the humidity. So that's why they need central heat and air, is to keep it at a temperature where the art is not ruined. So they had to take all the art out. And the only thing that's in there now is they can do open mic occasionally, but you have to do it according to the weather. Can't be too cold, can't be too hot. And so, but they have open mic there. I mean, they have dance there. I mean, it's used for so many different arts, not just one thing. And the local artists can display their art there. But, this was ARPA money, from what I understand. They asked for $20,000, they got 25, Roger says. So the extra 5,000 that they got, the 20,000 went toward the heat and air upstairs, and the 5,000 went toward this drainage. So you're saying it's leaving them short?
That's what I was under impression. But I mean, let me tell you something. I don't know anything about art. This piece of paper looks like art to me. But it's not that. I think if you sit there and listen to the stories about the kids that come from below the hospital, so that's where I was like, if we can't help out the kids and can't help out, I mean, that's what we want to bring back to our town. It's got to start from the children. I'm just all for taking care of the children. And there's a lot of kids that go to that art center, believe it or not. So I'm all for giving them $2,000 to fix their gutter.
And not everybody's a basketball player, football player, a cheerleader, or whatever. A lot of people are
I used to be a football
artsy,
player.
and that's their thing. Whether it's music, or whether it's drawing, or whether it's painting, or, there's a lot of different forms of art.
I was a big advocate in art. I did a lot of art in high school.
I did, and I'm just saying, but I'm an advocate in helping the kids out.
Oh, of course.
And that's just me. Like I said, I like to see you go $2,000 toward the art center to fix their whatever they need done with it.
Well, we're gonna take a vote.
Waiting on dinner. That's up to y'all if you want to vote again, if you want to just leave it as it is.
I mean, we can take it for a vote. I don't care to move forward. I mean, We start with door here and move
I don't
all
think
the
we
way to the
really
right.
vote.
Vote, you don't really vote,
I mean,
it's
no, to
just
move forward,
agreed
just to
to.
agree to move forward.
Another
Personal
straw
opinion.
poll, or
Well,
whatever you
that's
want to call it.
what was a straw poll.
It's a straw poll just to move forward to see if
Jeff,
we want
you're
to get
up.
the $2,000.
You can sit here and talk about
Me
how
too.
uncomfortable it is to say no, but I have to say no. And there's no words to say for it because we have to put a cap somewhere. And we've got everybody in the city needing some help. And you have to pick your poison. So I say no.
I say yes.
I say yes.
I'm not for adding any new ones this year because my priority has been on this right here, our employees. That's where my main priority's been. I'm not for adding any new one.
Right, I'm not saying we're not for the employees. I am for the
Totally
employees.
for the employees, yes.
That's not a popular no, because I got friends down there. A lot of them.
Mine's
But
no.
when I look at priorities, I have to say no.
I'm where I was too. I'm not for adding any new.
Okay, there it is.
Thank you, guys.
Democracy at work.
Did what?
Democracy at work.
Would this be a bad time to ask
Let's
for
vote
a raise for all of them?
Yeah.
Put that in
Can we get
paper.
some of that sense?
Alderman Martinez is asking for a raise for the,
That does not need to go to
for the
paper.
board.
No, no.
Please
Oh,
bring
put that front page.
No.
Yeah, headline.
Hey, look.
Put in there
Really?
that he recommended, but we gave it up to help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are bringing dinner, so.
Really?
stay
Oh, I thought we
for
were finished.
Wait, are we not finished?
We are
Well,
finished.
Well, you gotta, we're finished, but we
Please
can
take my
say.
state
I'm gonna be for a leave, that's for sure.
Yeah, we already ordered dinner, but before we leave,
Thank you very
if you all do not mind, I'm going to ask Jamie to address the new trucks again. I know that Alderman Roger had asked about the new trucks, and we had conversation earlier today. But so can't he hear your response back?
What am I?
About
The reason for the 150.
Oh, Jason, I'm
Versus the
sorry.
250, yeah.
Okay, let me get
She's already turned since
my
I've
paper
heard
back out.
this. And I got one comment too I want to make before we leave.
The fire trucks, you had requested information on the fire
See what the
trucks?
difference between the
Yes.
150 and 250 is. One thing.
So I spoke with Chief Kimbrough, and he said that it is more cost effective to get a 2500, I don't speak truck language, I'm sorry, a 2500 versus a 1500. So he had pulled information for me off the statewide website, yeah. And we looked at the costing for those. So it is cheaper to purchase the larger vehicle than it is the smaller vehicle. Statewide website. Or,
State purchasing.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
goes through state to
I
purchase
said,
them.
yeah, said that right. And then of course the capacity and the towing capacity is better for the larger one. But it is actually more cost effective to get the larger truck. Long story short.
That's cheaper. That's cool.
And is and Kevin, you can help me on this, the difference in the personnel numbers from police to fire is based on calls? Is that why it's different?
the difference in the,
Police, like we have 31 police officers to 20 fire. Is it based on calls or is it just that's how it is?
the difference between what
The
the
ratio.
level right now?
Yeah, the difference, the number of police officers we have compared to the number of firemen.
Well, it has been that way for many, many years. We looked through, and it has, with the exception of one, been that way for many years. I mean, even prior to your time on the board, as far as we can see.
From what I understand, it's based on the number of calls that they receive a night. But I know fire goes out on a lot of calls too. Yeah,
Those medical runs?
yeah.
They go all of them. I see them almost every night.
Yeah.
Every night I go out.
Every time the airplanes move to the city, they go out, don't they?
Yeah, but like,
I hear them every night.
yeah, but like serving papers, they don't go out
They
on.
are some busy folks.
No, we don't.
Civil papers, they don't go out on tickets, traffic and things like that. So I
One more
think
thing,
it
I was
has
gonna say,
something to
not
do
to
with
interrupt
that.
you, I apologize.
No, that's
One
fine.
thing is, before y'all decide on plan B and C, everybody go out there to the Humane Society and Animal Shelter, and just walk around. That's just challenge all of y'all to do it. Just go out there and just walk around and look at the facility and stuff. That's just something.
I'm hoping we got another plan coming down the
Well,
road.
if we don't have a plan B and C, just go down there and walk around it and see what's going on, because they're in dire need of a lot of help. It's crazy.
The life has been a big hit. I mean.
Yeah, I
lights
saw
we
that.
put
I
in,
saw the thing at the
everything.
floor and the shelter where they keep the animals in the canopies and stuff when they flooded and stuff. They remove shuffle them from one thing to another. And it's in bad shape.
I've been out there several times. We get our dogs somewhere.
Well, if you've been out there, it's in bad shape. I'm saying take the whole tour around it where all the stuff's at. Just go through there. That's what I'm just saying. Go out there. They're having an event in junior, cornhole event coming up.
Did you say cornhole?
You ever played cornhole?
I do.
I think all of us got to play some stuff. Well, they're going to have a cornhole event.
It's an Olympic sport now, isn't it?
We made our own boards when the pandemic came around.
It's no different than, what's that thing called now?
Horseshoes?
No, the big event for us, people 55 and older now are playing. Pickleball.
Pickleball.
Lucas, you're not taping all this, right?
About 10 times.
Yeah, he's taping all this, put on.
Shorter version.
Good business for the hospital.
They can go in there and meet my daddy if you want to.
I guess we didn't officially adjourn. We are adjourned.
Well, I just want to say thank you
That's the last
to
10
everybody.